Yes. Anyway, so I'm shooting this video because people don't. I want people to understand what it's like to be me. Okay, I've worked my whole life, and I've just seen all the trouble that people have gone through, having worked their asses off, in their lives, and and how the quality of their lives is so gone downhill. How the system has really destroyed the family unit. It's destroyed the individual, and now every second person is on pills, And I see all these bad things happening, and everything's linked together. I see historical moments where changes were made for the good, and historical moments that are not so known about, where things were changed for the bad. And so I've been paying attention to a lot of how things work in the world, and I see a lot of people with a lot of passion, but it's like everyone's just treading water on their own, and nobody's really pulling the dots together. And I thought, well, maybe there's something that can unite us all against everything. Because I mean, clearly, if you really stand back, you can really make the connections. You know how when you see a police investigation, and these forensic things are real. Like they put together a storyboard of how things link, right? I mean, if you do that with everything, most of us are intelligent people. We've been dumbed down by a lot of things that we've been exposed to, but most of us are intelligent people. And that's how, when I hear guys like, Jordan Peterson talking about, how, the competent people should be the ones that are in power, and this crap, it's like the most competent people are the ones running the machine. We're just, except that we've gotten so good at what we do and so busy and stressed by it that we haven't been paying attention to what the machine was doing to us all. And I think I've met a lot of people with that are hardworking and full of passion, and they've suffered in spite devoting a lifetime of labor. They've suffered the hardships of what this system really does to people. It just churns them out, and it's destructive and murderous, and it's really got to stop. And so, in my quest, I discovered this man. I think I've got it. My gum is stuck to my fucking teeth. Excuse me. Okay, I got it out. Okay, this man, and I can still laugh, and despite what I'm about to tell you. But anyway, I believe this man. I believe this man knows exactly what he's talking about. I believe that what he says are reasons why other people don't speak out, is because it would change their lives, and they'd be forced to live a much harder life. But when you put it that way, it certainly doesn't justify their silence. And anyway, I want you to hear this, and here it is. I'm going to turn it on here. This is Guy McPherson, and just to do some research on him. He's a real deal, and he's telling it like it is. So this is a panel talking to him on the phone.
Obviously, you have the data, and you're explaining it very well. What I don't understand is, why aren't other scientists on board with you? Why aren't they seeing what you're seeing? Or are they just burying their head?
Well, a few are. In fact, there's a guy named Gerardo Ceballos who works at a university in Mexico. And there's a guy named Paul Ehrlich, famous for his 1968 book, The Population Bomb. Both of those guys are conservation biologists, like me. And both of them are authors on 2 papers published within the last 2.5 years, pointing out that we are in the midst of the 6th mass extinction on planet Earth. And because our species, Homo sapiens, depends upon so many other species for our own existence, our species will be among the first to go extinct. So they are pointing it out. They admittedly are rare human beings. In their latest paper in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, they used the term biological annihilation. That's in the title of a paper in the referee journal literature. Now, the referee journal literature is among the most conservative outlets you will ever find. And to include the term biological annihilation and admit that humans are on the verge of extinction, that's unprecedented in the referee journal literature. That's remarkable. And that paper was senior authored by Ceballos, and Paul Ehrlich was one of the co-authors.
Wow.
Okay, so now
there's a reason that we're relatively few in number.
Okay.
And that's because I can't imagine any faculty member or government employee would maintain support for their position if they were to say what I'm saying in public. They might be able to retain their position, as I was able to maintain my position at the University of Arizona. I was a tenured full professor, and you can't get rid of tenured faculty because of what they write or what they say.
Mm-hmm.
But you certainly can withdraw support for those people. You can ban them from teaching the courses they want to teach because that's largely department head's privilege. You can reduce their ability to mentor graduate students. You can reduce their ability to serve on panels. So as an administrator, you can do some things to make life pretty miserable for faculty members. But once somebody has tenure, as I did, it's really, really difficult to get rid of them unless they actually do something illegal or clearly immoral in the public eye. So without support, though, it's really hard to sustain your work.
Right.
You know what it's like to come to work every day. Imagine if every day you walked into work and the 7 people at the station or whatever all called you names. All said,
yes.
No, you can't
yes.
have donuts today. No coffee for you. You know, if you lose that kind of support, if you're no longer a welcome member of the community, it's tough to keep showing up to work every day.
So they're technically, or in essence, they just kind of squeeze you out.
Yeah. I mean, they make it uncomfortable for you to go to work, and we all want to be comfortable. We all want to be accepted for who we are and the work that we're doing. We all want validation for our work. And if you don't get that anymore, you start looking for other things to do.
Yeah. So, what do you think about that, man? Well, maybe you don't even know what he's talking about. What he's talking about is things happening so quickly on the planet that we kind of get a version of the day after tomorrow, without the dramatics and the effects, just the fucking horror of storms, that many of our friends have lived through, and it's going to happen very quickly if the Arctic is ice-free, and it may very well be ice-free this year. So I don't know how people can just think that this isn't real. Like, it's hard for me to talk to people knowing that this is going to happen, and I know people don't want me to dwell on something like that, but like, who's insane here? Really? How can you not dwell on it? And in the effect that maybe it won't happen? Well, some pretty knowledgeable scientists are living with this, and not, running out saying the fucking sky is falling. But I always wondered what when I was a kid, I thought about what it means to say the sky is falling. And essentially, if what happens, it will be as though the sky has fallen. Because the sky is that tiny, tiny film that you see in an image of the planet. That film, that tiny biosphere, that tiny portion of atmosphere that keeps us breathing, you know, keeps the storms moving, you know, the balance of life. That's what it is. And I don't know. If more of us were saying that, you know, we're talking about the truth, you know, we wouldn't have to look like crazies saying the sky is falling. Because the science is there, and what we're doing and the pace we're going, like stopping dead would still mean there's trouble ahead that's coming this way. But what we're doing is still chugging ahead, you know, and it's terrifying when you think of what will be lost and how bad it's going to be. And the ones that are going to get to see the end of it are going to be the most privileged ones of all. Anyway, I don't know how anybody can live with that and not want to do something about it.